Today I fucked up by not wiping my bum on the bus. This happened about 15 minutes ago and I'm still practically doubled over. So, as with the winter season, well TBH basically every season for me, I've got the common cold, which paired with my asthma makes me a joy to be around on the bus. For a bit of background, my nose and sinuses are pretty solidly packed, my nose streams like a tap, and my voice keeps breaking because of the phlegm in my throat. Anyway, I get a bus to work in the morning because I can't drive, currently learning to, and it's packed with the usual odd squad and gackers. So, I step on the bus, swipe my pass, and go and sit down on the bottom level, double-decker bus, and pull my phone out to join the internet for the day. I realize about 5 minutes into the journey that my nose has started leaking, as it's dripping on my phone screen, so I lean over and reach into my back pocket where I keep loose tissues. I'm practically rubbing my back pocket for 5 minutes trying to get these tissues out, but they're caught between my coat and my belt, which is forcing them down the back of my trousers. I realize that people have started looking over at me, leant over with my hand full of tissue down the back of my pants, looking strained and ill. To avoid any confusion on this journey, I thought I'd better clear up with the rest of the bus that my hand was just caught and that I wasn't consciously shaking a handful of tissues around my ass. I decide to clear up the matter with this cracker, which wasn't helped by my frustrated cracking voice. I may not WEP on my bum. This is met with complete silence. Realizing what I've just said, my childish sense of humor kicks in and I start laughing and chuckling, to the point where the streaming nose I had emptied itself all over my shirt, leaving me looking like a glazed Krispy Kreme donut. I'm currently typing this from the taxi I've had to take home to get changed, which is going to make me an hour and a half late for work. I still have to explain this to my boss. Too long didn't read, got on a bus with a cold, tried to pull tissues out of my back pocket and inadvertently looked like I was caught wiping, and decided to let the bus know that I specifically wasn't wiping my bum. Laughed hard enough to get snot down my shirt, and have had to taxi home to get changed, then will have to explain to my boss why I'm going to be an hour and a half late today. Update. Have since arrived at work and explained to the boss what had happened. My new nickname is Smear and everyone is walking round with toilet paper hanging out of the back of their trousers. Would just like to also point out that the cold has currently consumed every soul in my office, which funnily enough is where I caught it. I read swipe my pass as wipe my ass. You should probably call in sick. Just tell your boss you weren't feeling well but thought you could make it in. On the bus you started to feel so bad you had to turn back without warning. Not sure I would go into a lot of detail with a boss about this story lol. Swipe the pass. Wipe the ass. Say something crass. Shirts all trash. Ring in sick dude. No one wants a bag of snot in their office spluttering all day and passing on their germs. You sound like you're ill enough to justify it, and you're gonna be late anyway. Just say you intended coming in, got on the bus and felt really bad and woozy and you've forgotten your inhaler so you've got a taxi back so you can get it, but really now you've had a minute you've realized you really just need to be in bed. You don't have to mention that you told a bunch of strangers how you weren't wiping your ass in public. I can't wrap my head around how you somehow made pulling something out of your back pocket difficult. Or look like you're wiping your ass. Or a need to say that you're not wiping your ass. Today I fucked up thinking I was home alone. So this just happened. I'm 22F living with two roommates, who I'll call Ali and Jen, 20F and 24F. I got home after work around 5:30. I see that Ali's car isn't parked anywhere on the street in front of our house, so I know she's not home. Jen has only lived with us for a few weeks, but she's always gotten home after me on days we have work, typical MF jobs. Since I don't see Ali's car, I think great. I'm home alone? I get to have some time to myself. Now something I love to do when I'm home alone is listen to music, through my earbuds, and just sing as loudly as I can. I've had a really long week, so I'm really glad I get to do this for a bit and just go hard and let everything out. So I do just that. For about 45 minutes. After that long, I'm thinking it's kinda weird that Jen hasn't gotten home yet. Something I neglected to mention earlier is that we do have a driveway in the back of our house that I hadn't checked. So I checked. And there's Jen's car? I feel so stupid for not checking the driveway, but I didn't think I needed to since she always gets home later than me. I immediately texted her and apologized for being so loud, and she's just like, no worries, I was just chilling and enjoying the free concert. Lol, I want to die. TL, doctor, I thought I was home alone and proceeded to jam out and sing very loudly and obnoxiously. Turns out I was not home alone. RIP my roommate's ears. Edit, thanks everyone for the kind replies. And wow, thanks for the gold. Really wasn't expecting that. I know this isn't a big FU, and some don't even classify it as a FU to begin with. But I was so embarrassed, lol. I usually am better about checking to make sure I'm home alone before I do this, but I really figured I was good to go. To those asking, the main songs I was jamming to are 7 Years, Unwritten, Trampoline, and Total Eclipse of the Heart. Unwritten and Total Eclipse are definitely the ones I went hardest on, lol. I thought this was going to be a different story. Reddit had corrupted my fragile little mind. Lamau, yeah, I figured everybody would be expecting something a little more NSFW. I did this in university once myself. Woke up one day and thought I had the house to myself. Except I came down the stairs naked, dong swinging wildly, singing the Mr. Mojo Rising Bridge of LA Woman to find all 4 of my roommates and their girlfriends in the living room, staring at me in shock and horror. I was given the nickname Big Swingin' that day. That's so much worse. I would have completely died inside. Finally, a wholesome today I fucked up. These are rare, but this one wasn't painful to read at all. Thank you. Will be a good memory you two will laugh about later. This is so wholesome, compared to how I was expecting this to go. Glad it turned out okay. Today I fucked up by forgetting my happy sock was still on. So my friend and I were at Five Guys today, and he was showing me this picture of a girl on our base, talking about her looks, and I asked, why don't you try to talk to her? To which he takes a sip of his milkshake, looks away and says, cause something embarrassing happened. Here's what he said. I didn't jack off for 2 months in boot camp, so I was a monster by the time I got to my next duty station, here. A week after checking in, I had been staying in the in-processing barracks, which means I'm close quarters to everyone, both male and female. I still had yet to relieve the 2 months worth of stress built up from boot camp in my neds, so I was action for a crank-in. Prior to beginning the session, I was in the shared barracks laundry room switching out clothes when this girl I showed you earlier, who also stays in processing, kindly tells me she'll let me know when it's done. To which I smile, thank her, and proceed to my room to itch this scratch. I grab a sock, head to the nearest video with Acer Kira in the title, and off I go. It was amazing. So amazing in fact, that I was knocked out immediately afterward. Sometime later I wake up to the sound of knocking at my door. It's midnight. Groggy, I drag myself out of bed and make my way to the door. You can probably see where this is going. I guess I was taking too long, because when I make it there she just opens it saying, hey, your laundry is Rhea. Oh my god. She's looking down, towards my genital region. That's strange, so I calmly look down and there it is. My glistening white sock, hanging out the top of my sweatpants. It wasn't even poking out a little either, a horrifying 95% of the sock was just hanging out as if my sweatpants had a crusty white tongue. Not even changing my expression, I close the door in her face, go to my bed and contemplate killing myself. After laughing for a good 5 minutes I told him that definitely belonged here. Too long didn't read, friend beat his meat, fell asleep, woke up to knocking on his door and greeted his fellow seaman with a used sock hanging out his PJs. Edit, alrighty, as this post gets more traction it seems to have also drawn in a lot more detectives saying I'm my friend or calling it fake entirely. 1. If I'm making fake today I fucked up in making the main character me. Cause narcissism. Not to mention I'm anonymous, or I'd have no reason not to. 2. I can't think of a way to prove what happened without exposing his or her identity, so unless on the off chance she has a Reddit and comes across this to confirm, I don't know what to tell you. I've never understood why people use socks. Do you pop it on like a woolly condom and then whack away? Edit. There seems pretty consistent comments on why people do it. It's still odd to me because in that moment where I'm about to shame myself, if anything even slightly abrasive comes into contact with my giggle stick, I would be done. It's way too sensitive for sock material. Unless you wear silk socks. That might be nice. I wonder if there is a connection with people who do this and circumcision. Surely your pork sword is a little less sensitive to slight abrasions compared to that of a man who has their foreskin. You are constantly in contact with material after all. I've asked friends about this, and not one of them have ever used a sock. I don't get it, either, and I'm 40. This made my day, Lamau. I am glad you shared. I am also glad your friend let you post the story. No problem, man, it was too good not to share, haha. In the Citadel, if we're caught scratching that itch in the barracks, we have to wear a white glove so everyone knows what someone walked in on you doing. I'm sure that the Citadel is something real and modern, but I can only picture you as Samuel Tarly after reading that. Seamen catch seamen with sock full of semen. Why the fuck do people jack off into socks? Where did they learn this? Who started it? I've never done it, and see no purpose to it. Told him the same thing. Apparently it makes cleanup easier. But at what cost? Seems uncomfortable.